What's going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and of course, we're taking it a little slower, a little lower, because, well, it's episode 69, baby. And of course, naturally, with the deep, smooth, dulcet tones that I do permeate from my being, well, you know what they say, you gotta rock a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. And here we are, with episode 69 of our Quack experimental podcast. Now, we do have a decent amount to talk about this week, so without further ado, let's jump right in, shall we? We'll go start with just a tip of the news. And the tip of the news, of course, is that big black beauty that some people apparently love. The Xbox. Because we're talking about the Xbox Series L release date. That's right. Despite having Halo Infinite, completely delayed until at some point in 2021 because it looks like a disaster and it looks like a previous generation game. Hopefully the previous generation version gets canned and it gets rebuilt from the ground up, but I am not hopeful with Microsoft at this point. Now, given the fact that the Xbox Series L has been confirmed to launch at some point in November of 2020, well, we may have a slight, narrowed down release date. Two different potential ones from different sources. Now, the main one, the first one we're going to look at, is possibly launching on November 3rd, which is a Friday, if I remember correctly. Now, this one comes from The Medium. The Medium, which is a multi-platform game, going to release on Xbox Series L, going to release on PC, and then about a year later will release on PlayStation 5. However, if you look at the PC Steam release page of The Medium, it turns out that there is a pre-order incentive. This pre-order incentive is a sale. Now, the game is currently listed as Holiday 2020 on Steam. But, given the date that the pre-order discount finishes, climaxes if you will, well, we might be looking at a November 3rd release date. Because that is the time that the pre-order bonus, pre-order incentive disappears on. Now, the other one that we're potentially talking about here is also very, very similar. Because when you think about it, one of them, November 3rd, which is the Friday, if I remember correctly, then you could be thinking 3 days later. And you might be looking at November 6th, which would be the start of the week. Or was November 3rd Tuesday, and then the 6th was... No, you know what? It doesn't matter. The point is, we could also be looking at November 6th. And the November 6th date comes from what is supposedly, at least, a premature box of joypads and box of displays relating to Xbox Series L joypads and Xbox Series L in general, arriving in store and having embargo dates and street date listed as November 6th. So, it could go either way. It has been confirmed by Microsoft that the Xbox Series L, the BBC, the big black console, will be launching in November. When? Well, we don't know when it's going to hit its destination and pop all over the masses just yet. But shifting gears for just a second, we can talk about one of the longest and strongest enduring stamina-related people in the industry. And we're talking Capcom. Because the legendary producer from the Street Fighter series that has been running for over 30 years, well, Yoshinori Ono is leaving Capcom after 30 years with the company. Now, this is going to be a very, very quick segment, which is, well, something we're not used to here on the program. But this also comes on the back, if you will, badum tish, of a supposedly internal leaked report I don't know how accurate this one is, but, well, the big thing is that supposedly Street Fighter 6 has been in development, but unfortunately, it's been delayed. Because if this is to be believed and this is to be taken as the truth, well, the leaked internal report says that Street Fighter 6 is getting completely panned by internal testing groups and whatnot. Which, after Street Fighter 5, I'm kind of not surprised. But anyway, we can move on to some more golden era. We can think back to our good old days when we could go all night long, baby, and we are talking Goldeneye. Goldeneye 007, to be specific. Or rather, Goldeneye 25, if you will. What is Goldeneye 25, you may be asking? Well, Goldeneye 25 is an Unreal Engine 4 based fan project related to Goldeneye, back from the N64. It's designed to recreate that almost inescapable feeling of pleasure you had when playing the N64 original version, but it's looking to do so in a more modern form. However, of course, you've had to pump the brakes, and, well, it is what it is, and someone's going to catch us, but, just say it wasn't me, and you're out. But unfortunately, a cease and desist letter has been sent, and the Goldeneye variant of this project is officially cancelled. Now, the team behind it have said that they are going to try salvage some of this, and they're going to make some changes, remove things that will be copyrighted, including name, characters, exact copies of levels, and some designs and whatnot. And they're looking to convert it over to an unbranded 90s style first-person shooter, kind of along the lines and maybe a spiritual successor or something along those lines of what we know and love back from our Goldeneye 007 days, when we all had those beautiful, beautiful 4 ways of our youth. But anyway, let's mix it up just a little bit, because let's face it, doing this one way all night long just gets a little bit boring, if I do say so myself. So we're going to talk a little bit about mini consoles, but, well, there's nothing really interesting about mini consoles. Nobody clamors for the miniature, smaller size things. So we're going to talk about complete opposite side of it, because if you're sick of mini consoles, well, boy oh boy has Q got something for you, baby. And that is what we have, which is something close to the real deal. Now, we all know that the Q here is the real deal, so this one is the next best thing, the closest you will get to it. What we have is an announcement of an SNK Neo Geo MVSX home arcade. It is a tabletop arcade machine with 2 sticks. You've got your 6 buttons, which is a little bit strange considering that pretty much all of these games that are included with this, I believe, are 4-button variants. Maybe it's just a practicality thing, but it is a tabletop arcade. Now, the beauty of this one, we'll get the negative part of it out of the way first. It is $450. Or you can buy a bundle, which is $500, which comes with a nice 32-inch riser out there. Because, well, we all know we like to pump it up bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, since it is a tabletop arcade machine, it can be played for all of these games. It does include 50 games based on AES and MVS versions of games. Now, there are too many to list here, otherwise I'd be going all night long. Not usually a complaint that's held against me in a negative light, but, well, it's the usual Neo Geo SNK suspects for the most part. You've got a lot of, well, pretty much all of their fighters, and you've got a crap load of Metal Slug in there as well. Now, when it comes to the actual hardware, when it comes to the unit itself, if you will, the big thing, of course, is the screen. It is a 17-inch 4:3 aspect ratio LCD, rocking a resolution of 1280 by 1024. So, again, we all know, compared to the original CRTs and all you had in there back in the day, it's not going to feel just like you remember it. But hey, it's probably the next best thing. Would I buy one of these? I would consider it. But at the same time, I'm a bit of an original hardware guy. You know what they say? The original is always the best. But sticking with our seductive topics and our suggestive, sensual topics for today, well, we got some huge fucking anime titties in the form of Crunchyroll. Now, I'm sure you already know, but if you don't, allow me to educate you. Anime, of course, is amazing. And Crunchyroll is an anime streaming service. And it does, of course, include some studios and all as well. But pretty much, first and foremost, it is an anime streaming service, akin to Netflix and whatnot, but for, well, glorious anime. Now, currently, the whole Crunchyroll franchise and Crunchyroll company and brand and everything is owned by AT&T. So they are the parent company. And they have listed, currently, Crunchyroll for sale. They're asking for $1.5 billion for pretty much everything involved with it, including licensing transfers and all as well. Their infrastructure, their accounts, pretty much everything. Now, supposedly, Sony are looking to hit them up, if you will, to see what's up when it comes to Crunchyroll and potentially get in there, if I do say so myself. And they are looking to do so in the form of $1 billion, which is a little bit less, just a smidge less, than what they were asking for, or what they are planning on asking for, which, because it's roughly valued and estimated around 1.5 billion, so it's expected to be around there. But supposedly Sony are looking to acquire it and make an offer for 1 billion. Now, if Sony were to get this and create their harem of huge fucking anime titties and distribution, well, that would give Sony a massive chunk, almost close to total control of Western anime and releases, because Sony already owned Funimation, one of the two biggest anime companies in the West. And of course, there are other ones in there too, with the likes of, I believe I talked about it before, but I believe it was Manga, who are now underneath, and, well, wherever else Funimation want them. And of course, if Sony own them, and not to mention there's some of the other big brands and all out there as well, which are owned by Crunchyroll. So, if Sony were to acquire Crunchyroll, they would also acquire all these subsidiaries. So they could go back and forth, passing around whoever they wanted, wherever they wanted, whenever they wanted, whatever way they wanted, why ever they wanted. It's a little bit of a bad thing, because let's face it, monopolies suck ass. And not in a good way, even if you're into that thing. Now, naturally, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't big up one of my other favorite companies out here. Another one that's long and strong and down to get the freak shit on, but, well, we got Nvidia. Another company that's been going years and years and years with no sign of stopping, baby. That's right, we're talking Nvidia, which have just announced what they're calling the ultimate countdown. Now, we can only imagine what kind of bukkake of GPU-related information that they're going to release all over the waiting world. The thirsty, I can never even pronounce it, but agao, whatever the hell it is, faced world, hungry for new GPU and graphical technology. Well, we'll have to wait just a little more, because Nvidia are celebrating 21 years of GPUs, 21 years of Nvidia graphics cards. So what they are doing is they are having a 21-day ultimate countdown celebration, which started on August 10th, and it will be culminating on August 31st. And not only that, not only are they reliving their biggest, best moments of PC gaming every single year for the last 21 years, where Nvidia have basically been ruling pretty much the entire time. But there is also a new keynote the day after this ultimate countdown finishes. There's a new keynote on the 1st of September. And you know what that means, don't you? New fucking 3000 series GPUs, baby. Ray trace me like one of your fucking French girls. But Well, unfortunately, it's not all good news here in the House of Q, because mistakes can be made. And unfortunately, I have to talk about two of these mistakes that, one of which was never good, one of which lost its way. Epic Games and Apple. Now, these two giant fucking babies out there can't keep their shit together and are having little sissy boy slap fights, as they say. Now, Epic are being epic cunts, if you will. Of course, Epic are the worst of the two companies. Neither of them are good in any way, shape, or form, but Epic are being worse in this way. So, Epic announced just a few days ago that they planned to go against Apple's policies in protest. Now, I'm never a big fan of rules, if you will. I like to think outside the box. So, the big problem here is that Apple, what they did, or well, I should say Epic, what they did is they dropped the price of their V-Bucks currency in Fortnite. And then they changed the buying and purchasing mechanic to be in-app rather than involving iOS and the Apple Store, or the App Store, which apparently is a big technological no-no. And we all know when it's a true no-no, there is a safe word. But, Epic, of course, went against this. They didn't listen to the safe word, and they went ahead and did it anyway. And what happened? Well, Apple dropped them like a fat beat, and that was it. So, it gets funnier. Fortnite was removed from over 1 billion Apple devices because it was no longer officially available on the Apple Store, the Apple App Store, that is. Now, what they've done is, this was all pre-planned. It was announced in advance, and this was all completely pre-planned. Of course, Epic even, completely did their usual kind of bullshit. They had everything lined up in advance. If you know what 1984 is, we've pretty much all read it. I'm sure you probably read it in school at some point, and it's more than your hot nights in the 80s, but, well, if you know what 1984 is, and you know about the original Apple ad, Epic spoofed the whole thing. And they did it with Fortnite and Apple. The thing that's especially funny about that is I can guarantee you that no one that they're appealing to is even old enough to understand any of that or get the references. So, of course, what happened? Timmy Tencent automatically, instantly sued Apple. They did the same thing. Now, I don't see this covered pretty much anywhere, but they did the same thing. And they turned the other cheek. And they did the same thing to Google with the Android App Store, or the Google Play Store, I guess you could call it. And what happened? Of course, they went against the terms and conditions and they got removed. And of course, instant lawsuit on there as well. So, Epic are being complete cunts. Now, I hope they get completely fucked, and not in a good way. It's like Eddie Griffin once told me, when you in jail, the sex you want, you ain't getting. And the sex you getting, you ain't want. So I hope they get this kind of fucked. Now, having said all that, of course I don't like all these monopolistic practices and whatnot. That does come from these closed ecosystems like, say, Apple, Sony, consoles. You get the idea. Not a big fan of that kind of thing. But I do hope Epic get royally fucked. I hope they get fucked out of the US. I hope they get fucked into China. And I hope they get fucked all over Tiananmen Square. Wherever Timmy Tencent and Tencent in general can just go and flying fuck themselves. Because at that point, no one else is going to want to do it. But of course, that brings us to the most important section. The climax, if you will, of the episode. And what do we have here? Q, what is going on? What is up? What is going down? Whoa, now we're going down? What's going on? What are you playing? What is the deal? That's right, it's a little bit different this week. We mix it up. But anyway, it's really still just the one thing. Persona 4 Golden. Now, as we've already highly established at this point, the game is long, the game is strong, And then Persona 4 is also long and strong. So, naturally, my staying power has hit the first finish, if you will. Because I have just finished Persona 4 Golden, in a way, but I'm not satisfied with just finishing once. So, I've finished the true ending of the base version of the game, but luckily I have the proper golden ending queued up. So, I'm currently in the post-normal endgame. So I'm in the golden endgame, if you will. So I have that queued up. I'm working on a little bit of the downtime in there at the moment. And, well, whenever I pump it up and speed it up and find my stride again, I'll have my golden ending. And what is potentially these last 2 dungeons, because one of them I hear may or may not actually be only available in New Game Plus, but one of them is lined up, and one of them is on its way. It's inevitable, baby. Anyway, that is it for the moment, because there's nothing else worth playing. There's nothing else worth my time, my focus, my attention, my devotion, my carefully... Well, that would be spoiling it all, wouldn't it? Anyway, that is it for this week of our 69th episode of our Quack Experimental Podcast. As always, feel free to slide on down below. Do whatever it is you need to do to that comment section to get your message across, for whatever reason it is. Salt, praise, questions, comments, opinions, thoughts, feelings, whatever it is. Comment section is there for just all that. Anyway, in the meantime, hit the appropriate button to let me know how I did on these videos, of course, and feel free to hit the subscribe button and even ring that little notification bell so you can get one of these beautiful little episodes every single week where they ring your bell and tickle your fancy every single weekend when they're uploaded. Of course, I want to thank everyone for watching, and remember, winners not only don't play Switch ports, but, well, without that internet browser, they can't even download a picture of a girl.